pardon my English bulldog that is sleeping right now. So she's quite a lazy lady. What's going on, YouTube? I hope you guys are doing great and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about vitiligo, an update, and everything else that I've been doing to get rid of my vitiligo. As you know, about 3 or 4 years ago, I posted something about a vitiligo cure and a method that I kind of came up with after reading about different sources and different methods that were working for people. What is vitiligo? It's an autoimmune response or disease where the melanin, I think is how you say it, in the skin attacks itself, and basically you get these weird, well, odd, interesting, different looking white patches across your skin, and usually 70 to 90 something percent of your body is covered in it. I remember my vitiligo first started showing up when I had been in the Bahamas in Exuma, and I got these like 2 red rashes around my face and on my palms, and it was itchy. I don't know if anyone else experienced it that way, but it was extremely itchy, and then I broke out, and then all of a sudden it was like white patches, and I had like little kids staring at me, and I wanted to tell crazy stories like I was burned in an acid like accident, or like I saved kittens from a burning house and blah. But anyway, so here's my vitiligo update now. I'm going to try to post pictures of what my hand looked like before. It literally were patches this large around my hand. And so I started researching all these different options. And the best thing that I found was taking ginkgo biloba. For some reason, it really works. So if you go to www.amazon.com or through Google Shopping or whatever, you want to type in ginkgo biloba. And I think I was taking 30 to 60 milligram capsules 2 to 3 times a day. And the other thing that I used was copper. A lot of people who have vitiligo are deficient in copper. They also have low stomach acid, so they think that it also could be linked to leaky gut syndrome. So that's something you guys can look into too, and I'll go into that in a little bit. I'm trying to cram in a lot of information in a short video and make it entertaining, so it's really tricky, but do your research. Doctor's going to tell you to put on creams. Your dermatologist really isn't going to have a solution. They might put you under a light thing. It might work, but it's really expensive. Oftentimes it doesn't work, and you're going to be feeling probably depressed. So if you want to cure this stuff, I highly recommend working from your gut and your diet on outward. So in addition to the ginkgo biloba, copper, I would wear 24/7, like all day, every night. Same thing, a bracelet that was magnetic and solid copper. And I noticed that my skin would start to absorb it. And within about 2 to 3 weeks, I started seeing a difference using the ginkgo biloba and the copper. Since then, I'm not the best at staying up to date on things or using something religiously, so sometimes it's a little bit tricky committing to something like that. So since then, I would fall off the bandwagon and stop using stuff, and my vitiligo would plateau, or things would change based on my diet. The other big thing I want to recommend is going gluten-free, and this ties into the leaky gut syndrome and all this other stuff. Gluten, it could be gluten, it could also be an issue with the Roundup Ready GMO Monsanto crops and things like that, where there's this cancer-causing additive that's used in wheat crops and all this other stuff too. So it might not just necessarily be gluten, but your body reacting to these chemical foreign particles. Leaky gut syndrome, it's when your large intestines break down to a point where they are permeable, and particles that are undigested slip through that lining and into your bloodstream. And then your body reacts thinking, hey, this is not okay, and put antibodies around it, things like that. And so your body basically is attacking itself. So yeah, when you eat gluten and grains and things like that, it eats and tears away at your intestines. You can try to resolve that through a different diet, obviously going gluten-free, fruits and vegetables, eating fermented foods such as like sauerkraut, things like that. But you can also try a powder called L-glutamine, and it's used in workout stuff. And with L-glutamine, basically you want to put, I think it's a tablespoon in a glass of water, mix it up, drink it about 30 minutes before each meal, and that kind of helps to coat and protect the lining of your intestines so that food particles can't break through. There's also a miraculous ancient Chinese medicine method, bone broth soup. If you can find organic, grass-fed cow, beef, or other animals, but you're going to get more out of a beef bone. If you're vegan, I don't know what to tell you, I'm sorry. anyways, what you want to do is get like butcher blocks or butcher bones and large beef bones basically, and you boil them in a crock pot for like 48 hours basically. There's all sorts of good stuff and nutrients in there and all sorts of really good things that can help rebuild your tendons and ligaments and skin and all sorts of really cool things like that. So that's a method you guys can also try. The other really big thing, and which is partly the reason 7 months later that I'm pregnant now, is going off hormones. I was on birth control pills since probably 8th grade. And because I have really severe cramps and all this other stuff too. And I am 27 going on 28. So that was a long time being on pills and trying different stuff. Either way, it's a really, sorry, I got phone calls coming in. It's a really difficult choice to make. There's obviously non-hormonal methods like a copper IUD, other stuff like that too that you can use. But birth control and hormones suppress the immune system, and birth control is a lot more damaging than they really want you to know or realize, or that they even really release to you or share. And so it's really important that when you or your kids or anybody else are thinking about life choices like that, to really investigate further like what that's actually doing to your system long term. Something to think about. So I noticed when I went off gluten, and especially when I took copper and ginkgo biloba, that my vitiligo started to go away. So I still have it on some parts of my hands, my groin, the back of my butt a little bit. Sometimes I get it in my armpit a little bit, like a couple spots. But honestly, I would say I'm almost like 80% recovered and healed. And I'm really curious to see how this pregnancy will affect my vitiligo. Because the other thing too you got to look at is thyroid issues, and I talk about that in some of my other videos, is hypothyroidism, which runs in my family. Also estrogen dominance, things like that. So you'll see kind of a spider web where all these things are kind of all connected to vitiligo, thyroid problems, endocrinology issues, endocrine issues, and diet and gluten, all this other stuff that kind of connects together. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. If you have vitiligo, I know it feels horrible, but at the same time too, like, you've been given this gift in a way, visually, because you can educate other people sometimes if you choose to. There's a lot of uneducated people about that will treat you differently, but you are beautiful, and it's a beautiful thing. So if you feel like keeping your spots right on, that's totally cool. There's nothing to be ashamed about it. But typically it means that there's something wrong inside of your system. There's a imbalance with your health, and so it's your body's way of being like, hey, we should probably work on this. If it's not just a genetic inheritance thing, if it just comes out of nowhere, there's probably some sort of imbalance going on. Anyways, you guys, I hope this provides information for you. Best of luck. Don't go and buy these like supplements and like go to these websites or like, we can cure it all for you and yada yada. Just do the research yourself. I hope I've kind of consolidated some thoughts and a lot of years of research into this. Anyways, I love you guys much, YouTube, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.